So we're going to be naming branch chain compound. So a straight chain compound or a unbranched compound is one in which all carbons can be counted without lifting your finger. So although this look funny, this is a straight chain compound, right? And if we had all carbons like this is also a straight chain carbon, because when I'm counting, I lift one, I don't lift my finger to count all the carbons. I can count all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 without lifting my finger. So those are still straight chain compounds. So now we want to name branch chain compound. So what we're going to do is identify the longest chain with the functional group and name it. So we're going to name it similar to how we were naming the compounds before. Then we are going to look on the molecule, on the carbon atoms, and we're going to see if there's any atom other than hydrogen attached to it. Any carbon other than hydrogen is called a substituent. So we will have to name the substituents. So if a F is attached to the carbon, we're going to name it fluoro. If it is Cl, we're going to name it chloro. If it is Br, we're going to name it bromo. If it is iodo. If it is CH3, we name that substituent methyl. And if it is C2H5, we name that substituent ethyl. Clear? So here we go. Now we are going to number the carbons, right, in the longest carbon chain from the end closest to the substituents. And then we're going to write the number, the carbon number with the substituents. Then we're going to put in the name of the substituents. And then we name the longest carbon chain with the functional group. So we're going to practice this. So here we have a molecule. This molecule has, what's the functional group?
Carbon single bond, sorry.
Carbon single bond.
Right. And the longest, the carbon, the name of this, the longest carbon with the functional group would be?
Pro.
Prop what? So this is called propane.
Propane.
Clear? So we're going to examine the carbons and see if on the carbon, if there's anything other than hydrogen attached. So I look at this carbon here, only hydrogen. I look at the second carbon, I am seeing a F. So this is called a substituent. Clear? I look at the third carbon and I'm only seeing H's. Clear? So the name of this compound, I need to name my substituent. So my substituent is a F. So what's the name of that?
It's fluoro.
Fluoro.
So I need to know, say which carbon number fluoro is on. Why I can't spell fluoro? So I'm going to number from the end closest to the substituents. So if I number from left to right, my substituent is on the second carbon. If I number from right to left, it's on the second carbon. So the end closest is any end with 2, which is either way. So my fluoro is on my second carbon. So the name of this compound is 2 dash the substituents, which is fluoro. Let me go call her back. Yeah, Flyman, 2 fluoro, and then it's propane. Clear?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Can I erase?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
All right, so you'll draw as I draw. Ready? So I look, I see only carbon single bond, so I know it's an alkane. So I need to find the longest carbon chain with the functional group, so I count. Here, so this compound have 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. If I count this have 4, but if I count this carbon, I have to lift my finger. So that's 4. I can count this molecule here, 1, 2, 3. This chain is 3, but is that the longest chain?
No, miss.
Or I can count 1, 2, 3, 4. So the longest carbon chain has how many carbon?
4.
So the name of that would be butane.
Butane.
I am looking on all the carbons to see if there's anything other than hydrogen bonded. So when I look at this carbon right here, I am seeing H, 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 so there's no substituents. This carbon here has a hydrogen, hydrogen. Are there any substituents?
No, miss.
This carbon here has a CH3. Is that a substituent?
Yes, miss.
Miss.
And it has a H. This carbon here has only H, so there's no substituent. So what's the name of the substituents here?
Methyl.
Methyl.
So I need to figure out which carbon number has the methyl. So if I count from, so the N closest to the substituents, if I go from left to right, it's 1, 2, 3, the substituents is on the third carbon. But if I count from right to left, the substituents is on the second carbon. So I'm going to number it from right to left because that's the N closest to the substituent. So the substituents would be on which carbon number? 2. So I put a dash. So it's 2-methyl butane. Clear?
Yes, miss.
Let me change the substituents because I use F already. Clear? All right, so here I can see that I have more than one substituent. I have more than one chloro. So when we're naming more than one substituents, so we go to rule number 4. So we identify the longest carbon chain, name it. Name any substituents, that is any atom other than carbon, other than hydrogen attached to the carbon. Then we are going to number the carbon from the N closest to the substituents. Now, here we have more than one substituent. So when there's more than one substituent of the same substituent, sorry. So there's more than one of the same substituents. We're going to use di for 2, tri for 3, 4, if it's 4 of the same substituents, we use tetra, and 5 of the same, we use penta. All right, so let's go. Here, carbon, how many carbons do I have here?
4.
So the name of this would be?
Butane.
Butane.
Am I seeing any substituents?
Yes, miss.
It is chloro. How many of them? 2.
2.
So it's dichlorobutane.
Dichloro.
So I need to indicate so di means I have 2 chloro. So I need to tell which carbon has these 2 chloro. So I need to state the carbon numbers with the 2-chloro. So in this scenario, I number from the end closest to the substituents. So it's going to be 2. Both of them are on carbon number 2. So it's 2, 2 dichlorobutane. Both chloro are on the second carbon. Clear?
Yes, miss.
Can I clear?
Yes, miss.
How many carbons are in this compound?
3.
3.
Ready? So it's propane. Am I seeing any substituents?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
And I'm seeing Br. Clear? How many bromo are there?
2, 3.
3.
So it's tribromo, pentane. Bromo would be on carbon 1. How many of them are on carbon 1?
2.
How many bromo? 2 of them. So it's 1, 1, bromo. And where is the next? Where is the third bromo? On the second carbon.
On the second.
So it's 1, 2 tribromo pentane. Clear? Clear?
Yes, miss.
The numbering, please.
All right, so let's name an alkene, a branch alkene. We have not done any of that. What's the functional group here?
Carbon double bond.
Good. So when I identify the longest carbon chain with the double bond, I have to count the one which has the functional group, which is the double bond. So I couldn't count 1, 2, 3, 4 and say the longest carbon chain is 4, because if I count this way, is my functional group there. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, am I seeing any carbon double bond right here?
No, miss.
No, miss.
Good. So I cannot count that. So my longest carbon chain is 4 with the functional group. So the name of this would be butene. Clear? Clear?
Yes, miss.
So here I have 1, 2. Clear? My substituent is there. What's my substituent?
Methyl.
Methyl.
And it's on the second
carbon.
Second carbon.
So
Second
it's
carbon.
2-methyl butene. Clear?
Yes. Yes, miss.